Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this video. So today's video is going to be a little bit of a celebration, as this is the 100th video on my YouTube channel. I set the channel up under my original name, Darren Midwinter Music, in 2014, so it'll be 12 years ago this year. And in that journey, we have seen 55 subscribers at the time of this recording, and my most viewed video being one of my own compositions, Everywhere I Go, Everything I Do, reaching just over 1,700 viewers. These are certainly not astronomical figures by any stretch of the imagination, or in any kind of context, but nonetheless, they are mine, and I wouldn't change that for anything. And quite honestly, I don't even think I could handle the expectation or the pressure of handling a channel with hundreds, thousands, or even maybe more subscribers. So, in honor of this celebration, I thought I would talk you through my journey on my YouTube channel, my very small YouTube channel, from initiation in 2014 to the present day in 2026, and all the trials and tribulations that came with that. So let's rewind to 2014. So my first video was actually a series of 3 videos, which were original compositions, which were the first being Sweet Sweet Feelings, Brand New Road, and a song which I never actually released called Blood from the Stone. They were all recorded in my childhood bedroom, and yeah, I say 2 of them would feature on my debut album, which was released in 2018, called Red Sky Perspectives, which you can listen to on Spotify or any other streaming platform of your desire. It wasn't any sort of explanation or reasoning as to why I decided to upload them to YouTube. I was already very active in the music scene in my hometown of Cirencester at that time, doing open mic nights on a regular basis, more often than not attending a couple a week, depending on the week. And I thought it would be cool to show my songs to a wider audience potentially. It would also be around this time where I would actually be at my most prolific in terms of songwriting. Most of the songs from my debut album were actually written at this time. So there's songs which are around that sort of period of time, 2014, 2015, such as Black Beauty, and The Sea, Standing Still, Look at Me Now, were either written completely or were certainly in the beginnings of being written around that time. It would also be around this time where I was becoming a lot more open to the idea of performing with other people. There's another video on my channel performing with a musician originally from Cornwall who moved up to Cirencester called Dan Billing, who I was very good friends with around the mid-2010s, and we did a couple of sets together, one of which he was opening for another local musician, and he asked me to be his accompanying guitar player. He plays the acoustic guitar and the tenor guitar, where I was just accompanying on the acoustic guitar, doing rhythm section. It would be sort of these scenarios of performing with different people which really gave me a lot of confidence, and I was absolutely reveling in performing at open mic nights up and down the all around really the Gloucestershire area. And it would be in 2015 that I would get my first sort of festival performance booked in, and it would be under the local festival in Cirencester called the Phoenix, and it would be monitored, the set that I was performing. It would be sponsored or created even by the Let's Play Music program, which was run by, or I believe it's still run by, someone called Stuart Elwyn, who I was again good friends with at that time. He is, I believe, still a guitar teacher, and it would be under his sort of guidance and stewardship of that particular gig, and that I would feel I would love performing live in a not in a open mic setting, but actually out. And it was it was a great feeling, and I really got the bug for that at that time. It would be in August 2015 that I would move away from Cirencester and move to Cheltenham, but unfortunately that didn't work out, so I had to move back to Ciren in June the following year. Um, I had to get my head straight a bit. It was due to a breakup, but I had to move back, so I was trying to keep my mind occupied. So I was really sort of upping the ante with doing more and more performances. And it would be in 2016, a couple of months after, that my mate and I took a trip to Scotland, and it would be, and still would remain, the furthest I have travelled and ended up performing. It was an open mic night when I had to be up on holiday there, that they were hosting one, and I decided to play, and it was wonderful. Went up to Ullapool, so right on the upper northwest coast, and performed at a I think it was like a pub restaurant kind of thing that had an open mic night there, and performing there with the loch and the mountains. It was quite an amazing scene for sure. It would be a around 2017, so sort of late 2017, when I had 10 fully fleshed out songs that I had written, and I thought it was now or never as far as getting the songs recorded were concerned that I had written, and those would be the ones that would end up on Red Sky Perspectives. It would be under the guidance of Steve White, who is a Whitney-based music producer and mixer, masterer, as well as a guitar teacher. He was absolutely incredible with regards to the vision of the album. I wanted it to be as good as it could have possibly have been. Obviously not without too many alterations, without it making it sound like it was it wasn't a human creating it. Basically, I still wanted to have that very raw emotion behind it. A lot of the songs are very heavy in terms of the lyrical content, as it has to do with things like self-realization, overcoming acceptance, and as well as a couple of songs about relationships, and as well as sort of having to live with Asperger's syndrome as a condition that I have, which is on the autism spectrum, which has its pitfalls. So yeah, the songs sort of navigate those kinds of journeys, but it also explores sort of like the nicer side, as well as the side which unfortunately rears its ugly head sometimes. Steve would perform the drums on the album, as well as some extra guitar work and vocal harmonies, and some of the programming as well. I, on the other hand, did the guitars, the bass, some of the keyboards, and glockenspiel, which would feature on the closing track, All of You. I would then upload all the tracks to Red Sky Perspectives. Unfortunately, not many of them getting a lot of views, but hey, that's the way it is. But everywhere I go, everything I do, on the other hand, would be my most watched video, as I mentioned in the introduction, with just under 1,800 views. I'm quite blown away, really, when I last scrolled through my old videos and see how they were doing, and seeing that one getting way more views than pretty much every other video I've ever recorded at all. But it was, I don't know, it may well have been down to someone looking for a video of the same title and coming across mine by mistake, but who knows? I'll take that as a little win. It would be just after the recording sessions had sort of become in the final stages that I would end up with a riff and a lyric in my head on my way home from town being Cirencester and home being the home in Cirencester at that time, which would become the beginnings of the song called Familiars, which would end up on my follow-up EP with Immediate Effect. I decided to approach with Immediate Effect a bit differently this time. Because of the band sound that I had wanted with Red Sky Perspectives to become, I decided to try and start a band to write and record the any future releases with. So I ended up recruiting Mike Libiter on the bass. He also did backing vocals as well to the EP, and Richard Harwell on the drum kit. The three of us, we would form what would be the Darren Midwinter Band when we were sort of performing live at festivals or pub gigs, what have you. And I had an absolute blast with these guys performing in the band. And it was simply down to COVID that every little bit of momentum that we had built, we released with immediate effect right at the beginning of 2020. 2020? Yeah, 2020. 2020. So that was right before COVID-19's lockdowns and would take place, which of course would put the brakes on any kind of future meetups and any sort of gigs we wanted to do. Richard, unfortunately, we'd have to leave the band because of his elderly parents requiring a lot more care to get by, which basically just left me and Mike. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic and being in the isolation side of things, it's hard for everyone. And I'm not saying I had it harder than anyone else, but far from it. I'm certainly not saying that at all. Unfortunately, my mental health took a massive toll. I ended up, becoming incredibly depressed, and any sort of drive I had to write music, unfortunately, went down the toilet. Because of that, I didn't really pick up the guitar very much either. A lot of musicians, professional and amateur, would use COVID-19 as an opportunity to write new material and record it. And of course, if you have the means to do so, it's an incredible opportunity to do it. Unfortunately, because of my mental state, I saw the guitar. I mean, I was never really the best at it anyway. I was strictly a sort of a rhythm kind of guy who knew some chords. But I would like to think I was more of a writer. But that's by the by. I saw the guitar, rather than using it as like an instrumental tool, I saw it more as a crux. Yeah, it was really hard, and I never really got the momentum back of wanting to really be able to perform. It would be a much more sporadic upload. So instead of me, because I didn't have the motivation or the momentum behind me, I would only really end up performing the odd cover here and there and upload them to YouTube. So I think the first one I did at that time, when I did a couple of uploads a few years ago, was Man on the Moon, I think, by REM, and Rhythm of the Rain by the Cascades. The latter of which would be hugely important to me. I think it was my first musical memory, so I have an awful lot of that song means an awful lot to me. So what I actually sought comfort in those kinds of lockdown years, if you like, were sort of music history. I've always loved reading up on bands' histories, late member changes, albums, that side of things, and I got an awful lot out of watching YouTubers such as Rick Beato, Charismatic Voice, and also more sort of factually based music channels like Wyatt X Him and Rhyme Signatures, the latter of which would actually be hugely influential in my change of direction to doing the kind of videos that I'm doing now. So I have an awful lot to thank for Ian and his words of wisdom, if you like. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with treatment-resistant depression. It's a condition I'm still having to sort of navigate via medication. But so because of that, I found the motivation side of things very, very difficult at times. But I figured I had nothing to lose by sort of doing the little change in direction, and it was something that I'd been plotting for quite a while, and seeing how important it has been for other creators to do that sort of thing, I figured I would give it a shot myself. And the first video that I would do, I would actually change the name of the channel. Darren Middleton Music to me was no longer really a valid name. but I figured to change it to, at the time of this recording, to basically give videos of my own opinions on my favourite bands, albums, deep dives, that sort of thing. I love the history side of things, as I mentioned before. I love the history of bands and doing sort of like the sort of like more like sort of like an encyclopedia kind of summary, if you like. And without a script in front of me, like I'm doing now, I ramble a lot. So it was very important to me to try and it's a learning experience. The first video I did was, I don't know why I decided to do the Dream Theater discography as my first video. It was a bit of a baptism of fire, but well, I suppose you've got to learn somehow, haven't you? And it ended up with as an hour and a half video covering 16 albums, whereas my videos now are an awful lot shorter, simply due to the fact that I've managed to actually write scripts for them. But as I say, you live and learn. So I suppose that's kind of where we get up to now. So what the future holds, well, who remains to be seen. I clearly don't have 20/20 vision as I wear glasses, but I do have various scripts on the go at the moment, and hopefully we'll have plenty of videos to see us through in the first part of the year. So yeah, we'll see where we go from here. I hope you enjoyed my ramble of my journey, and I'll see you again in the next video. You take care of yourselves. Bye bye.